Hello everyone, Abby here, Purple Cottage Crafts. First let me say Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you had a great New Year's Eve and that your new year thus far is going well for all of you. So I wanted to kind of just do a quick video and share with you all what I've been working on. Some of these projects have been probably a couple years in the making because I work on certain ones in between other projects. And I do have to apologize up front because I have my space heater on, so you might hear that in the background. And then two, I'm holding the camera with my handheld tripod until we get into the front part of the cabin. This is pretty much how I'm going to have to film. I am able to prop it up on a thing of fabric I have next to me, which I will do in a moment, but it's not going to be my normal overhead, so I apologize for any shakiness or anything like that. So these are just a variety of some slow stitched fabric journal covers, and some are all just fabric pages, and some of them just the covers. I have some of these textile, I'm calling them textile ATCs. I can't remember if I've done a proper video on these yet or not, but I know I've shared some photos on my Instagram, which is Purple Cottage Crafts, if you are not following me there. I do lots of sneak peeks and things like that and little quick videos. And then down here, these are some little slow stitch embellishments that I've made using some of the rusty fabric. I do have a video on that, which I will link below. I'm pretty sure I got that uploaded. It's been a little bit. So since I did the rusty fabric, but these are just some little pieces here, and I'll have a full video showing you how I'm putting these together. I just kind of want to give you just a little quick peek, pardon my fabric thing right there. I am stitching currently on the bed, so and here I have a set of some slow stitch tags using mostly vintage fabrics. The base, actually I think this is some vintage fabric here too, if I remember right. I started these a couple of years ago, like literally a couple of years ago, and I kind of work on projects like this in between other things that I'm working on, and these were actually completed a little while ago, but they've been packed into one of my project bags. And since our move last summer from Oregon to Montana, I haven't been able to access all of my things yet, but I'm kind of slowly getting to some projects and stuff that I had kind of packed away. So these will be, in fact, everything you see here will eventually be up for sale. These are pretty much done. I thought about maybe making a set of three, but as far as these three tags here, these are pretty much done, and I really like these. I'm not a pink person per se, but I really like these. Sometimes I'm tempted to keep the things I make just because I think they're pretty. And I don't mean that like in a conceited way. Please know that I am not like that. So anyway, I feel like I'm not giving these justice because I have to hold it with the tripod with my hands. I apologize for that. And then over here, this is my red work journal. I've done tons of sneaky peeks on this on my Instagram. I can't remember when I started this. I would say, oh my goodness, a year ago maybe, I don't know, somewhere around there. And this is a journal cover here, and I'm thinking about just selling the journal covers themselves, and then that way you guys could put in whatever you wanted. You could stitch in your own signature if you wanted to do that. So this was a lot of hand stitching here, slow stitching, and I'm really into doing the red work. I like black work as well, and basically what that is just using, like one color of thread or floss kind of on the project, whatever it is you're working on. And I happen to choose red because I love this base fabric here that I have. So there is that, and this is the back side of it here. I will do proper videos on each of these items or each of these sets once I'm able to have a proper filming again, and once I complete everything. So I have my needle stuck in here because I'm still working on this. I sometimes have to pull these things out and look at them for a minute because I'm like, where did I leave off at and what was I going to do with it? So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. So these are just some slow stitched textile pieces here as well, and I thought these were really cute. Thought they'd be fun to, you could use them in journals, stick them on like if you have like an inspiration board or something like that, or you can even frame these if you wanted to, like as one set, or get like little tiny mini frames. I thought that'd be kind of cute too. So there are those, and they fit inside this little fabric envelope. This is some vintage lace, and it's all that I could bear to part with. I know it probably sounds really bad, but this is like legit antique vintage, or not vintage, but antique lace, and I just think it's so beautiful. And I just did some French knots on there just to kind of accent it. And then this is the fabric envelope, and this is a die cut from Timmy, one of his dies. And so I just cut it with some drop cloth canvas and then made this little envelope. And they do fit inside there. It's hard for me to do it with one hand though. So, but as I mentioned, I will be doing separate videos on each of these as the time comes. All right, so this is the one I'm working on currently, and I'm still working on the front. What I'm doing is just some more seed stitching there. And I have this, this section right here up to here to do. But I have the back side done. And I did all that stitching right there. And when I get this journal done, I'll explain the reason behind why I'm doing some of the different stitching techniques. So I'll save it for that video. And then I will be, this is just a basting stitch, so I knew what the center was, so you can ignore that. So this will have some vintage pages inside using, a combination of coffee and tea dyed, some legit vintage paper, things like that. So this is the cover, and this is one I had started. Oh my goodness, gosh, most of these are probably around the 2-year mark or so. And I've just been more actively working on, I'd say probably in the last month or so, a little bit more than what I have been. And then I'm just incorporating some leather. These are bits and scraps from a leather artist that I've purchased a few years back. And I'm just now kind of finally getting into that stash. This is actually a small little piece from the antique petticoat that I purchased from my, gosh, I think it was my first shopping trip here at Brian's store. I'll link that video below. There's a vintage button, and that's some vintage string in there I used. I think that's some pearl cotton. And then just some layers. And again, I'll go into more detail when I get to that point, but just to kind of show you what I'm actively stitching on right now, and I'll continue once I'm done filming this little bit. This one here is 100% vintage French fabrics, and I've mentioned Lisa Maddock with Forage by Lisa Maddock several times on my YouTube channel. I even have videos I believe I used to do. I don't do them as much anymore because I'm just so anxious to get in and start stitching with the fabrics, but I have videos of past, I guess you could say, vintage fabric packs of the month type of a subscription service she has. She has another one starting up in January, so I'm really excited about that one. Lisa goes to France several times a year, or at least a couple times a year, and she forages all these different vintage fabrics, and we can use them in our kits however you want to. They just come as like chunks of fabric. And so I use them, not all of them from this month's kit, but I used a pretty good amount to create this fabric journal here. So I have a couple of ideas on how I'm going to finish this off, and I'll share those with you once I get to that point. And then I just did a basic, kind of like a running stitch, but kind of like a seed stitch size down the center to bind it together. And these are just some, like I said, a combination of vintage linens from France. And so some are tapestry pieces, some are from curtain panels, kind of like the old Victorian bed sheet, or the bedding they would have around the four-poster bed, like the curtain panels. Some of it is from that, not necessarily this book, but the different kits and stuff I get. This gorgeous piece of lace right here. I can't believe I'm using all these things that I'm going to eventually sell because I just want to hoard everything. But here's like a vintage piece of some upholstery there. I have the string long because I'm not sure. Oh, actually, I think I have the top and the bottom strings still long because I like to give myself options as I'm working on journals to decide how I want to finish them off. So there's that one. But this is just so beautiful. So pretty. So there's that one. And then last but not least is this one here that I also started a couple years ago. When I would go over and visit my mom, I would take over a small piece and just do some sew stitching over there while I was just visiting. So this one, again, is a couple years old. And I tack my needles in here on my different projects as I'm working on them, so I can remember what size of needle I'm using for what particular project. So I don't always do that, but typically I will do that when it's going to be a project that I'm going to be working on in between other pieces that I want to do. So this one is going to flap open like this, and this will also be a another journal. And this mostly has more of the vintage fabrics that I purchased from Lisa Maddox. So, and I just did a ton of slow stitching on the back side here. This has been so fun to stitch on this. Let me try my best to show you guys. I just do little bits here and there, and it's just such a great therapy and a distraction and just all those kinds of things. So there is that one. And as I mentioned, all of these items will be up for sale. I'm trying to decide, mostly what I do is I will have like one completed project, and then I will just kind of, do a standalone video on that alone. And then I've been putting things in my Etsy shop this past year, like just a couple things, not a lot, because like I said, we have the busyness of packing up my 2 craft rooms that I had in our house and moving, from Oregon to Montana. So I haven't had a chance to put a lot on my Etsy because I am just so used to selling off my YouTube channel. And to be honest, it's a lot quicker for me to do that. But I do want to start putting things in there so I can do like shop updates and things like that, especially when I have multiple items like this. So I will be eventually getting some videos up on these items, and then if I decide to put them all in my Etsy shop, I will do an official Etsy shop update, just kind of an overview, kind of like what I'm doing here, but they'll be completed, of course. And then each individual item will have its own separate video so I can show you in detail, because I'm really all about that when you purchase, whether it be D-stash boxes from me or, individual journals or tags or, small textile pieces like this. I like to show you what you're getting and kind of the detail, and to kind of explain the process and kind of my design thought process behind everything. I just like to do that, and I know I'm not alone in that, obviously. But I like to just kind of have that full detail video. But when I do like a shop update, it'll just be like a quick peek through of kind of what I have, so you can kind of see what's going to be up in the shop and all that stuff. So, all right, I just kind of wanted to do a video because it's been a bit since I've done like a crafty related video. As I've mentioned, probably way more times than you guys want to hear. With my lack of my overhead tripod setup, I'm not able to film videos where I'm actively stitching on things or, taking apart, deconstructing fabric and clothing that I've purchased for different slow stitch projects. So I wanted to just kind of have some sort of crafty related content on my channel. And we are so close to being able to move into the front part of the cabin. So I'm going to have a kitchen soon, you guys. I'm so excited, a proper kitchen. And then we'll have my husband's office will be set up in one corner, and then I'll have a crafty corner in the other side of the room. Well, in the same side of the room, but opposite the kitchen. You guys will see. I'll do a video showing you the new, our cabin setup here once I get everything decorated and kind of like, home here for us anyway. So I hope you are all doing well. And let me know in the comments below if you would be interested in me doing just slow stitch journal covers alone. And then you guys could put your own, journal inside. You can make it to, your own, like, stitch journal, like where you do different types of like, embroidery work or different stitches, or even put it, even stitch in different fabric samples of like, maybe you're doing small projects like this and you kind of want to have a place to put them, or even smaller projects like this, or you could, like I mentioned, the obvious, you could stitch in your own, oops, sorry guys, you could stitch in your own journal and your own signatures in there. So because I would like to kind of get your feedback on that. I'll probably do a standalone video just on that alone, but I kind of want to throw it out there right now, and you guys can let me know what your thoughts are on that and kind of go from there. So I hope you guys are all doing well so far in the new year, and I will talk with you real soon. Bye.